Hey guys, before working on anything electrical on your Prius, make sure that you've got the power and accessories turned off, and open and close your door to make sure your accessories are off before you start playing with fuses or electrical plugs or anything for your own safety. Also, if you've got the solar roof model, make sure you turn off your in-cabin ventilation using this switch here.
Hey guys, welcome to Swagging with Ben. This is just a quick video to go through how I fixed my power socket in the center console of my 3rd gen Prius after I accidentally damaged it. I had a slow cooker on there plugged into this inverter, which is currently running from that center console socket. Got the cable going through there again. It's all good, and it wasn't the fuse that blew in either Prius under, oh gee, something in the back there that's quite heavy. Camping videos. It wasn't the fuse that blew underneath the tip on the plug, and it wasn't the fuse that blew underneath the dash on the passenger side in a right-hand drive vehicle, to make that a bit easier to understand for people in other markets. It was actually a part inside of the receptacle itself, so where the plug goes in. And I've got some photos to show you here. The problem was actually something called a fusible link, which is, from my understanding, and I'm not an electronic engineer or anything, but inside of the power socket there's something in there which is kind of a fail-safe, which is supposed to burn out if the fuses don't. Now, sometimes they can be a little bit temperamental or hyperactive, if you will. The reason why I thought of checking for this is because my 80 series Toyota Landcruiser did the same thing before I bought it. I had to try and diagnose why I didn't have power to my... In those, it's actually a cigarette lighter socket because they're so old. But anyway, I got that sorted, and it was the same issue as what had happened to the Prius. So the Prius lasted about 20 minutes running the slow cooker on low. I haven't put it into a power draw device to see how much power it actually draws, as slow cookers are pretty variable nowadays. But here's how I fixed it. So underneath the carpet in the center console, you've got 5 bolts. 10mm bolts that you've got to take out. I'll show those on the screen. There's 4 under the carpet, and then there's 1 in front of the cup holder shape, which I'll also show on the screen. There is a, as you can see in this picture, there is a white plug that needs to be disconnected, and then you can remove that entire console. And then I also recommend taking the cover off the back of the center console housing itself. Like if you were sitting in the back seat and you can see the back plastic, it pulls out as well. Here are the clips that you need to release to get the back of the center console removed. So you can see a few of those down each side, and the back pops off. Once you've done so, on the underside of the console you need to disconnect the plug that goes to the socket, the 12 volt power socket that is. So to remove this plug from the bottom of the power socket, there's a clip here that needs to be pushed in, and then you can release the plug. This plastic part here needs to be removed, so you need to carefully pry up these clips around the outside. Helps if you have fingernails or something to assist you. When you have those clips around the outside undone, you can remove this plastic piece. It's got the prong that comes off, and then there's a nut that retains that part to the underside of the socket. This nut on the bottom of the power socket is a 7mm. Now in my photos you'll see that I've removed that assembly and had a closer look at that. On the outside of that, you can see some metal wire which is covered in kind of a black insulator type resin maybe, and that's not electrically conductive on purpose. And then you can see the bare wiring there, and part of that's supposed to burn out if it has too many amps run through it, or just pretty much sustained heat. And you'll see that at the base of the metal that is attached to that resin-like product, there's a round circular piece underneath it before it touches the metal below it. So that is actually a non-electrically conductive material. I don't know what it is, but if you remove that, just for diagnostic purposes, it doesn't matter if that fusible link, that bit of metal that is running between those two bits of I don't know what it is, it's something metallic, you bridge that gap by removing that bit of round material between them there, and the fusible link is then bypassed. Now this is good diagnostically because you figure out whether there's a problem with a fuse, which I had already ruled out in my circumstance because my inverter worked in other power sockets, other vehicles, etc. I could see the fuse was fine. I'd also checked the fuses in my vehicle and switched those with other known working fuses in my vehicle. So I knew that it had to be the socket or the wiring between the fuses and the socket. So once you remove that piece of material, you can just reassemble it and test it. Now, this could be an issue with your insurance and so on and so forth, but it's a diagnostic measure and it worked for me. Immediately everything started working for me again, and admittedly it is a fail-safe. So I've actually replaced my socket. I just wanted to confirm that is what the issue was before I went onto eBay and spent, I think it was like $9 to buy a new one. And so that's a pretty no-brainer. It's not something you're going to risk your vehicle for over $9. And but in an emergency, if you need to know how to get something working, or just you need to know how to diagnose that, it's going to be the same thing in a lot of vehicles. As I said, my 1990 Landcruiser was the exact same problem, and that one I didn't replace the plug-in. It's just got the little bypass that I just showed you guys, which is not the greatest idea, but again, it's got a 15 amp fuse on it. So 12 volt accessories are only supposed to run up to 10 amps. If it's going to pull 15 amps, it's going to break that fuse, and if it's not in the inverter first, it's going to be in the vehicle. Something's going to go. It's not going to burn your car down, but don't drag me into court if something goes wrong. But I'm just talking in theory here. It's an extra failsafe you don't need. It shouldn't have actually blown in the Prius, but after 20 minutes of slow cooking, it must have got hot enough that something gave way. In the best photos that I could take, I couldn't even see a break in that fusible link, but bypassing it made it work again. So there's obviously some kind of minuscule, better than my eyesight with my glasses on, fracture in that bit of conductive metallic material there that has given way. And
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Anyway, I'll probably cut this video off here. Now Siri's trying to join in on the video, so
I'm sorry.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, hopefully the pictures are pretty self-explanatory, and everything's working fine again now. This is plugged in, and in the next video you get to see that. Thanks, guys. Bye.